Trump just called Putin absolutely crazy. And it wasn't a joke. This is a major shift. After Russia launched its biggest aerial assault yet, 367 missiles and drones hitting cities across Ukraine, killing at least 12 and injuring over 60, President Trump broke from his usual tone. Standing in New Jersey, he told reporters, "I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. He's killing a lot of people." He didn't stop there. On Truth Social, Trump blasted Putin for launching strikes for no reason whatsoever. But in classic Trump fashion, he also took a shot at Ukraine's leader, saying Zelensky is doing his country no favors. Now Trump says he's absolutely considering new sanctions if Putin keeps rejecting a US-backed ceasefire. Ukraine agreed. Russia said no. Zelensky's response? The silence of America encourages Putin. Trump says he still believes Putin wants peace, but critics say the time for belief is over. Is this the moment Trump turns on Putin? Drop your thoughts below. Trump just told Apple, build in America or pay up. And your next iPhone? It could cost $3,500. In a fiery Truth Social post and press conference, President Trump announced a 25% tariff on iPhones not made in the US. The target? Apple's shift to India, where Foxconn plans a $1.5 billion expansion. Trump says Apple had a handshake deal, build iPhones in America or face tariffs. That deal's off. And it's not just Apple. Samsung's in the crosshairs too. Trump wants to end offshore tech production and bring it home. Analysts warn a US-made iPhone could cost over $3,500 and take 5 to 10 years to ramp up. One called it a fairy tale. So, is Trump rebuilding American manufacturing? Or pricing out the middle class? Hit like, drop a comment. Would you pay $3,500 for an American-made iPhone? President Trump has signed a landmark minerals agreement with Ukraine, granting US firms access to critical resources like lithium, titanium, and graphite. This deal is framed as a strategic effort to reduce US dependence on Chinese supply chains and to support Ukraine's economic recovery amid ongoing conflict. The agreement includes a joint reconstruction investment fund, with equal oversight from both nations, aiming to channel revenues into Ukraine's rebuilding efforts. Supporters within the Republican Party view this as a pragmatic approach, aligning economic interests with foreign policy objectives. They argue that the deal provides a tangible return on US support to Ukraine and strengthens geopolitical alliances. Donald Trump says immigrants who enter illegally get a different standard of due process. But here's the truth. That's false. Under the US Constitution, everyone, yes, even undocumented immigrants, has due process rights. The 5th and 14th Amendments protect any person from being deprived of life, liberty, or property without it. That's not a liberal opinion. That's settled law. Trump's been repeating this line since his first term, but the courts have made it clear. Due process applies regardless of legal status. Whether it's a full trial or an expedited hearing, the government must follow a fair process. In fact, the Supreme Court just ruled in April 2025 that Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act still requires proper notice and time to challenge deportation. There are no exceptions to due process. Not for migrants, not for citizens, not for anyone. The rule of law isn't optional. As one legal expert put it, due process is what separates democracies from dictatorships. Trump's claim completely debunked. Trump just declared war on Harvard. And it's not just political, it's financial. In a move that's already setting social media on fire, Trump has announced his intention to revoke Harvard's tax-exempt status, accusing the Ivy League powerhouse of hoarding billions while pushing a political agenda. Harvard is sitting on a $50 billion endowment, using it to brainwash our youth, Trump said during a rally this week. This comes after months of conservative criticism that elite universities have become ideological factories. Trump's team argues Harvard is violating the public trust by engaging in political advocacy while enjoying nonprofit tax benefits. Legal scholars are split. Some call it a First Amendment issue. Others say it could open the door to politicized audits of universities across the country. Whether you see it as accountability or authoritarianism, this move hits at the heart of American academia, and it's already fueling campus protests and donor panic. Is this about free speech or political revenge? Donald Trump just appointed Jeanine Pirro, yes, that Jeanine from Fox News, as interim U.S. Attorney for D.C. And the political firestorm? Immediate. Pirro, a former judge and county prosecutor, is best known for defending Trump on Fox. pushing 2020 election fraud claims, and being named in the Dominion defamation lawsuit. Critics call this a political stunt. Supporters say she's a powerful crusader for victims of crime. Trump's first pick, Ed Martin, was dropped after backlash over his far-right record. So he turned to a loyalist with media clout and courtroom experience, doubling down on loyalty over optics. Left-leaning outlets are sounding the alarm about politicizing federal law enforcement. Right-leaning sites calling her incredibly qualified and celebrating the appointment. Here's the bigger question. Is this about justice or influence? When your federal prosecutor is a primetime pundit, what happens to public trust in the rule of law? Subscribe for more unfiltered political breakdowns. Trump floated a third term. Now he says, not something I'm looking to do. But here's the full story. In March, Trump told a crowd he wasn't joking about a third term. There are methods which you could do it. That triggered a constitutional firestorm, because the 22nd Amendment clearly states no president gets elected more than twice. But in a Meet the Press interview aired Sunday, Trump reversed course. He said he expects to step down after a second term and hand the reins to a great Republican. His words, it's not something I'm looking to do. Still, his allies aren't giving up. Reverend Andy Ogles introduced a resolution in January to let Trump run again. And Steve Bannon, already talking 2028. Trump says he'll follow the Constitution. But if history's taught us anything, never say never in Trump world. The U.S. just accepted a $400 million luxury jet from Qatar to serve as Air Force One. Trump says it's legal. Critics say it's dangerous. Pete Hegseth confirmed the Pentagon accepted the Qatari Boeing 747-8. Trump calls it a generous gift and slams backlash as a radical left story. Adam Schiff is demanding a watchdog investigation, calling the move deeply troubling and possibly unconstitutional. Trump's allies defend the decision. One senior official told Fox News, it's not about optics, it's about getting the job done. The current Air Force One is a fossil. Trump adds, they want me to wait years or spend $1 billion. This is a smart move. The catch? The retrofit to meet U.S. standards could cost hundreds of millions and still take years. Also, this plane would then be Trump's personal plane after he leaves the White House. So the U.S. will still be buying 2 new Air Force One planes from Boeing for the next president. Comment below. Is this smart business or personal enrichment? Donald Trump just threatened to yank $3 billion in federal grants from Harvard University and hand it all to trade schools. On Truth Social, Trump slammed Harvard as very anti-Semitic, accusing it of harboring radicals and aligning with the Chinese Communist Party. He claims the Ivy League school failed to provide info on its foreign students, and insists too many of them are taking spots from Americans. This move follows a federal judge's block on Trump's attempt to revoke Harvard's ability to enroll international students. The administration already slashed $60 million in funding, with $3 billion now on the chopping block. Supporters call it a brilliant investment in blue-collar America. Critics say it's unconstitutional revenge politics targeting academic freedom. Is this a win for working-class America or an abuse of power? Drop your take in the comments. In a bold move, President Trump has signed an executive order directing the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, CPB, to cease all federal funding to NPR and PBS, citing concerns over alleged partisan bias in their reporting. This directive mandates the CPB to halt both direct and indirect funding to these public broadcasters by June 30th, 2025. The CPB, a nonprofit entity established by Congress, receives approximately $535 million annually to support over 1,500 public radio and TV stations nationwide. In response to the executive order, CPB President Patricia Harrison emphasized the organization's independence, stating that the CPB operates under congressional authority and is not subject to executive control. Leaders of PBS and NPR have condemned the executive order as blatantly unlawful. PBS CEO Paula Kerger and NPR President Catherine Maher have both indicated plans to challenge the order legally, arguing that it undermines the First Amendment and the Public Broadcasting Act of 1967.